What are people doing here so early? You people never get here early. I always have to wait like an hour or two before anybody arrives. Hi, everybody. Callie! Callie B. writes. You know, well, it's not you, Callie. There's always all these people. I will say this, Callie. I have noticed a trend with people here on this website where it takes them about an hour to get in here. So that's the reason for the long waits. Is because it's like I got kind of tired of just like doing 2 hours of nothing, and then then people start coming in just as I get tired. Welcome. So I thought we'd do more digital art today, and it might be fun for you people to watch me struggle. Do you have a copy of it? Post the link again. What's love? What's this song? That song has been stuck in my head all day. What's love got to do with it? Got to do with it. $10. Are you gonna get it though? You should. It's fun. Yeah, I remember that was like a big deal for me when I tried when I published for the first time. It's like to have it in my possession. There's something about that where it's just like, oh, this is like it feels real now. God, you know, I do have to say, these pills that I'm on right now, holy shit, do they make me paranoid. Hey! right now, I feel like I should. I'm juicing right now just because like the doctor ordered me to. I feel like I should go to the gym and like lift like super heavy things, try and get that beautiful roid body that all the boys want, that everybody wants. I mean, would it not hurt me to go to the gym at all? What am I talking about? No. I'm gonna be on these for 2 weeks. Might as well take advantage of that. So Ant-Man is getting really mixed reviews. I don't know. The problem is, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. We're getting to the point where people who grew up on those movies, on the Marvel movies, are now adults, and usually when that happens, suddenly, these movies don't make me feel like a kid anymore, so they're bad. Phenomenons kicks in, so be prepared for that. That's like the creepiest way you could introduce you. Okay. It puts the lotion on its skin, or it gets the hose again. Hey, Emmy, how's it going? Ugh, I suck at digital art. I'm better at traditional art. Like, I'm better with like an actual pen and pencil in my hand. Digital, I kind of struggle with, but that's good. Oh, Halo. Teenage Sean was very obsessed with Halo. The biggest event in my life would have been a Halo TV show coming out, and I didn't bother to watch it because it didn't look that good. I haven't replayed it in a long time. One thing was it bad? Looked bad. I don't know. I always want to give stuff a chance, but it's like, because Halo Man. I did find the reaction to Halo Man, Master Chief having sex quite funny, but I don't know. It looks like an example of it looks like a kind of a classic example of what was I gonna say? Of like, you know, Hollywood doesn't really like to produce original stuff anymore, and like, so all these people have these scripts just floating around that they want to produce, but nobody's interested in that, so they just kind of lightly rewrite it to be about characters, other characters or something. I don't know. I never saw the show, but I know there was a massive like just anger over the fact that Master Chief had sex in it, and he's like, he's a virgin, and I thought that reaction was just a tiny bit funny, just because it's like, no, he doesn't have sex, but I don't know. If the show is not, I think a show realistically could probably have gotten away, a good Halo show could have got away with Master Chief having a romantic relationship, but if the show is not good enough to distract from that, that one particular plot point than it is for that to be like a obsessive point of discussion. Then they have greater issues. Did you ever read any of the books? It's kind of my philosophy on that. Yeah, or I don't know. Yeah, so stuff like that, though. Yeah, I agree. It isn't. I don't think there's a problem with him having a romantic. I mean, his obvious. I mean, of course, Master Chief's obvious romantic partner is Cortana. But that's just not going to happen. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the fact that they tried to make her, yeah. You know, she's interesting in a way because, you know, I keep wanting to call him Halo Man. I know that's wrong. There's an old video, there's a famous, like, old meme video that called him Halo Man. Master Chief is if you don't know, Master Chief is an actual rank in the military. That's boring. Why did I even bring that up? Nobody cares. Nobody cares, and probably everybody knew. Intare? Thank you. Bills. Oh, yeah. Hey, Terry Bell. Yeah. I don't know. I want to give stuff a chance. And I actually, like, controversial opinion. Stuff doesn't need to be 100% loyal to the source material to be good. You know? But also, yeah, exactly. The thing with the Halo series is it seems like that was just a show. It seemed, I don't know. I've never seen it, so I cannot fairly judge it. But it seems from the reaction that it was kind of a mediocre sci-fi show crammed into the skin of a much more popular sci-fi franchise. And maybe if it wasn't explicitly about Master Chief even. Here's the thing. Well, Terrible, I'm happy you're here. Yeah, and I've been a little bit inconsistent. Here's the thing. I've been inconsistent partly because I have to take these pills and they're kind of fucking up my brain just a little bit. So if I say anything weird and stupid in the next 2 weeks, it's because of these pills. And then the rest of the time, it's my own fault. Like, I don't know. Bungie can be somewhat pretentious in its storytelling a little bit, and, you know, Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. It's, yeah. I don't want to get into it, just why I'm having to take it, just because it's not fun. But it's a I'm on steroids right now because of my stomach is my stomach has decided that I suck at the drawer so much. My body has decided the inside of my stomach lining is a disease and it needs to be fixed. And so they've put me on steroids to try and counteract that. So, yeah. I do feel like every time I take them, I do feel like crazy and incredibly paranoid. So what's going on, everybody? Oh, Recall Welch died. Explain. Well, that's good. Been pretending to no longer human before I read the first chapter. I'm not totally sure what that means, but I'm curious to follow your thought pattern. Like, has anybody seen The Last of Us TV show? I haven't yet, but like when you listen to the guy explain, like when you listen to the creator of that explain, like the producer of that explain what he liked about it, his thoughts on that show. Ooh, which book are you reading? His thoughts on that, and he's like, oh no, I liked the video game. I wanted to adapt it because I thought I could. And then he adapted it, and it turns out everybody likes it, and it's like, oh, what a surprise. You got somebody who actually cares about this thing doing well. And it's not just like a corporate hack of like... Oh, okay. Okay, I misread that. For some reason, I misread that, Emika. I thought it said, I'm pretending to no longer be human this Saturday. And I'm like, I'm not sure what that meant. My bad, my bad. I'm like, why are you pretending to no longer be human? That's good. I'm trying to read more too. Reading is fun. Reading a lot more comics. Yay! Exactly. I'm reading a lot more comics, even if you guys did make me feel briefly guilty about comic books yesterday. But I said I wasn't going to talk about that, and I don't want to because I held no hard feelings. But I've been reading comic books and actual books, mostly for my YouTube channel. It's a weird thing where it's like, now that this is reading is supposedly a thing I love doing, but I haven't been doing it when I have all the free time to do it. But now that I have like a obligation in my own head to do something, now I'm doing it a ton. Which is a weird thing where it's like, the second you give yourself like a task, you can justify it as like a task or something, then you start doing all the stuff. Like, I didn't really start taking writing seriously and like write every day until I started a blog, when I was like 20. When I started doing that stupid thing that nobody read but I thought was genius. Boy. Yeah, it does help, doesn't it? I do love my... Really? So, Callie, how long have you been a puppy? Tell me. Did a witch curse you? Did Dr... Callie, did you go to the Isle of Dr. Moreau? I told you not to go to the Isle of Dr. Moreau. Guy's a weirdo. Yeah. Do you guys ever look at your pets and go like, God, you're so fucking lucky. Like, you have no idea how lucky you are. You just get to sit here and do nothing all day. I used to do that a lot with my dog, where I was just like, you are so stupidly lucky. I'm so, you just get to sit here and be loved all day, and like, you have all of your needs met. I miss having a dog. I really want to get a dog, but You know what the problem with this is? It makes it erasing too easy. Like, nothing is permanent, so I can just erase when I don't feel like it. And usually I just kind of like power through it, and I eventually get an okay drawing. So I'm not going to let myself erase anything. I have to just keep going. Oh, right, I forgot to do something. Not that it helps. Hey, here's just a question for everybody. I'm curious about your thoughts on this. Who here follows my YouTube channel? Do people see my posts? Like my community posts? Because I've been Because I post some... I always post one before I go on. I'm curious how effective that is. I'm going to keep doing it, but I'm curious how effective that is. Okay. Sorry for bringing up my YouTube channel too much. I know people get bored by it. I bore myself talking about it, but it's just the thing I'm focusing on that a lot right now. It is fun. I do have fun doing it. Yeah. I mean, at some point, I hope it's a business. All right. Listen, if I can start getting paid from that, I can start writing comic books off as taxable, as tax deductions, and I want to live in that world. I mean, to be fair, I probably make so little money from that. I wouldn't count as living not super high property-wise. By the way, if anybody's curious, I'm not going to make that webcomic for a while. I don't think my skills are good enough to make one, and I had been talking about making a webcomic to some controversy. And even if I went with the cheaper artists that are out there, couldn't afford it really at this moment in my life. Maybe in a year or two. And I don't think my skills are good enough yet to produce something on the level I want to produce. Well, I don't know. It's I do like making those YouTube videos, and I do want it to be successful. But I also get that it's no fun to just like go on and hear somebody go. I hate when like creators on like internet people like just constantly talk about their other things that they do, and it's like, yeah, you guys should just like go to my like Instagram and my like TikToks and my Visco and like just follow me there, and like, you know, I'll do all the stuff that I used to do, just follow me on all these like million other platforms. I just hate it. I've always hated that because I always consider it like prove that you're entertaining, then you could, prove that you're entertaining first, you stupid loser. And then I find myself doing that all the time. Like, cause like people aren't automatically inclined. People don't owe you a follow don't owe you a follow on another platform because they follow you on one. People don't have a responsibility. People. It's not like their job to like. It's not their job to like. To support you in literally everything that you do. That's what I feel, at least. Except you guys. I don't mean you guys, by the way. I just like. Whenever I talk about bad influencer people, I'm always thinking of the Paul brothers. That's what I'm always thinking of, by the way. I'm always thinking of them. If I ever bring anything up, it's because yeah. Well, yeah, no, I understand that, but I really hate I really hate, you know what I really hate? I really hate when, like, creators, like, guilt you into doing something. Like, I hate when, like, really big creators, like, go, like, oh, please just do please go to my live shows. Don't you love me? don't you love me? And I'm like, what? Don't you love me? Don't you want to support me? So please just buy, purchase my things, please. Like, I remember on Twitch a few years ago, there was this whole controversy where it's like, pandemic hits, right? Everybody's out of work. And so there was this whole spat of like these big streamers who were just bitching. Sorry, that's a bad word. I shouldn't use that. There was this whole spat of streamers who were just like whining about like, I can't believe you guys aren't giving me subscriptions. I need a ton of new subscriptions. Why aren't you guys giving me subscriptions? And people were like, well, it's because we're all out of... And then they had to remind them that it's like, hey, we're out of a job. Like, a lot of us are out of jobs. We just can't afford it. And it's like, it's so selfish. It's so selfish that you won't give me subscriptions. And like, I swore I would never do that. I swore I would never be that sort of person when I saw that. Yeah. Oh, you have to be. Like, it's actually not that hard to give a subscription. I was like, I hated that. It's like, I hated that. It's like, you are, like, people, like, you know, as much as personally I would love to be making more money from all this stuff, I like, this is a free entertainment thing that I do. Free entertainment thing that I do. I am not, this is something people do to relax. This is something to do to relax, and anybody here is helping me out already by pushing me up in the rankings. Like, I am not, you know, I would never once, you know, I didn't set up to this thing to like sell stuff. You know, like, this is not a for sale thing. You know, this is not me I have no interest in charging. I have no interest in this being for payment. I do eventually want to release stuff that I may ask, you know, if you like me, I may try and promote on here that will cost money. But like, stuff like this will never cost money. This will never cost money, and I will always look for alternative payment methods first before I try and sell people stuff, you know. And I just hate it. I hate it because it's like, there's just like smugness and like hyper consumerist, like hyper what's the word? Like hyper consumption. Like, I called it hyper consumptionism, where it's like in like this in the internet, where it's just like, your job as a person is to constantly buy. Like, the people online, like, they only perceive you as like constant, like you're not individual human beings. You're just your life. And it's taught to people that like the only thing that matters in life is to buy and to constantly buy more and more. You know, like, there's no artistic integrity. There's just money, you know. And I resent that, and I resent briefly that I was lured in by promises. You know, like I thought of like trying to exploit that idea. And it's just like, anyways. So that's my almost political rant. Sorry, I got a little intense there. What I told you about the pills. And also, that's what I feel. And I hate that, like, it just irritates me to no end that there are people like that. And that they're rewarded for, like, their shittiness of, like, what we should do is consume and consume nothing. I literally am on steroids at the moment, so I all the emotions I'm feeling are very intense right now. Literally all of them. All of my emotions are intense. Yeah. I mean, I do feel that way. Like, I do feel that way. It's just I'm not usually as intense about my thought process. Like, I do really resent like how hyper consumerist the internet is. Like, even in my, like, you know, soft, squishy part of the internet where it's like all about, wow, guys, like, did you read about the new comic book? Did you read about what Spider-Man's been doing this week? And, like, did you read about, like, I can't believe Spider-Man has, you know, like, somewhat softer side of the internet. It's like, there is this general, like, thought process, like, well, you have to get the official, you have to get all the official copies. Also, you should get, like, all the crossovers and get a couple of statues. And why not some posters? And I'm like, oh, screw you. Why don't kids read comic books anymore? Why don't kids read comic books anymore? It's because like to read a full story costs like 50. To read like a full like story can cost like $50, and you intentionally draw out the plot line so that you have to buy like 30 different comics, each at like $2. Each at $2. Like, oh, I wonder why kids don't read comics anymore. Fucking collectors. Ruined everything. I tried to... I have to say that the, what was I gonna say? I mean, they even... I mean, collecting can be fun, but it's like... Sorry, I'm being intense. It's just like, and like, I love comic book stores, I do, but... Yeah, you should. Like, the thing about it is, like, comic book stores are great in a lot of ways, but it's also like, you know, it's just, they charge so fucking... I, by the way, put a lot of the blame for, like, comic books at least going down in popularity to authors, to editors, like, overtly focusing on trades and stuff, because, like, you know, I've been reading a bunch of old comics I'm reading, like, old Spider-Man and Doctor Strange for some videos I want to make at some point. And, you know, the real old comics, like, the stuff where, you know, in the 60s and stuff where, like, comics had never been more popular, you know, every single issue told pretty much a complete story. And nowadays, like, to get that complete story, like, you would have to read, like, six issues of comics to get a similar complete story. And it's like, and it's, I consider it sleazy because it's like you're kind of, like, even really good comics do this a little bit. It's like you're just stretching out the story so people have to buy more. And it's like, it really annoys me because it essentially, like, at some point, I've talked about this before, not in a while, I haven't brought this up in a while. Essentially at some point down the line, the decision was made that only, like, old-time fans will be prioritized. No new-time fans. So, and the decision will be to, like, try and extract as much money out of them as possible. And I hated that. Yeah. As you should. I mean, there's great things about physically reading a book. I don't want to discount that. Publishing. The art of publishing itself, like book binding and stuff, can be an absolutely beautiful art in and of itself, like, just independently of the writing, which is a weird thing to talk about. But it's like, and I don't want to see that, like, that art, like, lost, but it's like, what, you know, I also can't see why anybody why people would bother when they could get it for cheaper on the internet. Like, I have this great copy of Dune here that I love. Let me see. Is it? Oh yes, it is. Spicy again. See, like, I have this, like, look at this. Look how beautiful this edition of Dune is. Also, I have some, or this edition of the complete works of H.P. Lovecraft. And this is me being a real, like, awful, terrible nerd here. The complete writings of Nikola Tesla. Yeah. And they're beautiful and they're amazing, and I don't want to lose that. I very passionately don't want to lose that sort of. Oh, I have that. It's downstairs. I don't feel like going to get it at the moment, but I do have that. So, also, I have a subtle fear of, like, I'm worried we may lose a bunch of books if they're not printed. You know, I'm a history fan. I like history. I like reading about history. And one of the things you quickly learn about history is that so much of it is based on, like, written sources that we have. So, like, any written source is super valuable, you know, especially from the past. But we lose we've lost so much. Yeah, and so I have this whole paranoia about, like, God, I don't want to lose all these, like, great things. So, like, there's always a part of me that's like, I should print all this stuff off and something and just, like, preserve it myself, because I don't think anybody's working at that at the moment. Good. You really like that Vampire Hunter, do you think, don't you? That's a fear I've been having for a while. Like, there's so many movies now that are just, like, done totally on digital. Like, they estimated once that there's a possibility that, like, there's a chance we may lose, like, we could lose, like, Marvel movies faster than we could lose, like, movies from the 1940s, because, like, nobody's, like, thinking about digital preservation, like all these digital series. And I like the Marvel movies. They're an important film movement, and I think it would be a tragedy to lose them. Yeah. Well, the thing about DVDs is that they also aren't really permanent. See, the best way to preserve like movies is, like, legitimately just to preserve them on film. Like, we need to, like, yeah. Oh, I should give Monster a chance. You know, that's always a thing I always think it's gonna get, like, you know, there's been a lot of really bad. I know what Monster is. I've seen the first 2 episodes. I liked it. I just never got around to watching more. That's like, you know, that feels like anime. When I watched it, like, my comment was like, oh, this is anime doing prestige TV in a lot of ways. Like, this is what prestige, like, American television is like if it was done by anime. That's a good thing, by the way. I don't know if that's clear. I like that it felt real, like, hip, and like it felt real, like high art, intentionally well made drama in animated form. I like that. I've been wanting to get into that guy. You know, the thing about that guy, Monster and stuff, is, like, I know the author behind that has a real famous manga in Japan. Like, real famous, like, considered like one of the, like, a huge, like, that's what he's most known for in Japan. But for some reason, it's never really been properly translated into English. Yes, 24 cent. Like, I cannot find a good version of it. Just, I haven't been able to find, like, an early, like, I'd like to read it, but I just can't find, like, a good English translated version of it. Like, there's a couple of manga that look really good to me, you know, that I want to read, but I just can't find. The other one is, like, Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. That one looks really fun. All right, Terry Ball. Like, I don't really care. Like, I guess I should care about My Hero Academia because it's, like, a superhero, and, like, I'm being, you know, and, like, people, like, I'm getting known for my, like, looks into superhero stuff, which is, you know, fine. I like superheroes a lot. I can talk about them pretty endlessly, and it is interesting. I will point out, it is very interesting to me that even in anime, even in, like, you know, anime, which is supposed to, the big trend right now, the biggest thing in the world right now is the superhero thing. Like, I will note that it's quite funny to me that, like the big trend is just superhero still. Even in Japan, the whole world is into superheroes at the moment. And they're best when they're combined, right? Superhero and romance. Should too. Hopefully do. I hope the Batman series with Robert Patterson is, like, full on, like, does the full on Tom King, like, is the full on, like, Tom King, like, yeah, I know he's part of the producing team of the new DC movie series, so possibly this will happen. But it's like, they should just do on the full, like, because in the comics, if you don't know, just, I know nobody cares, but I'm also going to say it also, but it's also my stream, so I can talk about it if I want to. It has been pretty much about Batman, and for the last, like, couple of years has been pretty much about Batman and Catwoman having turning the relationship for real and like potentially getting married. Like it's mostly been about the Batman Catwoman romance. What is this evil Power Rangers thing? Want to link it? Loved Power Rangers as a kid. Did you watch Power Rangers? Who was your favorite? Were you Green Ranger, Red Ranger, Pink Ranger? I know I liked the Green Ranger. I literally remember nothing of the show other than I liked the Green Ranger because green was my favorite color. And that was the intelligent commentary I had as a child on stories. I felt Red was too pretentious, like too obvious of a leader. I want something unique like green. The actor that played the Green Ranger recently died. It was very sad. Oh, why am I being... yeah, he passed away. Tragically, it was a suicide. That was heartbreaking when that happened. I may be smiling now, but my instinct is to diffuse tension. It's to diffuse sad situations. Is to laugh and smile. Yeah. He lived here in Texas. He lived around here. Jonathan David Frank. Not around here, but he lived here. And we were from the same city, so that was a fun little coincidence. Let's see this. Oh, right, yeah.
Ranger Reject is about basically the Power Rangers. There are 5 of them, they have different colors, they fight bad guys exclusively on Sundays. There's always one powerful dude and a bunch of weak henchmen. It's the structure you know and love, except it's all fake. All the powerful bad guys did exist and they did try to take over the world, but they got wiped out pretty quickly by the Rangers, and the only evil being...
This is definitely more of a, like, the end. It's not. The Japanese do have a very, like, I do think it's interesting. Like, Japan does have a very unique, like, super, you know, arguably one of the oldest superheroes is Japanese in origin. Goldbat. So it is. I can't hear the music. That's so strange. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's not like, you know, there's no like cultural appropriation or anything. It's just independently two people kind of came up with Masked Adventurer. But I mean, I know who he is. So it's like, you know, so it's interesting that the US and Japan have had like a distinct, like superheroes both came into existence, you know, or, there's a distinct Western and a distinct like Eastern like methodology to superheroes, you know, like there's a distinct culture of both of them, but they're undeniably like a similar idea. So it's kind of fascinating in my mind to see, like, you know, like, so Japan always has a very distinct, like, superhero culture to itself. Kind of, you know, there's separate in many ways from the Western's idea of superheroes. Yes, I'm very, I will say, I do know a lot about superheroes. I'm not like, yeah. Yeah, I watched the original Godzilla a little bit ago, and like one thing that's so interesting about that is like, you know, in the movie, the implication is that Godzilla is a creature of like ancient times that is a, you know, it was awoken by like the nuclear bomb. So in a way, it's like, it's not just a metaphor for the nuclear bomb, it's also a metaphor for like Japan as a nation like collapsing, you know, in a way. Like so much, like, you know, if you watch a lot of Japanese media, what you'll find is that Japan is very fixated on this idea of like, what is Japan's place in the world, you know? And what does it mean to be Japanese when you lose everything? Like, one of my favorite movies is a movie, it's called Harakiri. And I think it's a very fascinating like look at like yeah. That's all it is. All that is so funny. Like who it's Robert Foster, right? I believe is the actor they put in. They actually, like, funny enough, like, Japan actually liked that version of Godzilla, and characters like the I believe it's Robert Foster start popping up in subsequent Godzilla movies, which is an interesting, like, phenomenon, where in, like, the US it's considered kind of, like, cheap. In Japan, like, they kind of like that idea. But, like, it is interesting where it's like, do you ever? It's weird when like when monster movies appear. Like, America, like, did you know that, like, America didn't make particularly try and make a kaiju picture until 9/11 happened? Like, that's I note that Cloverfield was very 9/11-y. I don't know. Oh yes, I'd be excited. I'd be excited to hear that. What was I gonna say? Well, so Harakiri is an interesting movie because it's about two separate. It's about the end of the what's the war it's not the Warring States. There's a specific term for it. It's about samurais after like Japan becomes officially reunited. What is that period in Japanese history called? They have a very specific name for it. It's about the end of like the Warring States period, and it's about like these samurais. Yeah, after the Edo period. Yes, thank you. It's about but it was made it was not so subtly also about the end of like like Imperial Japan. The director of it is a real interesting guy because he was a pacifist objector to the war. So, and he comes at like history and stuff. He comes at like Japanese history very uniquely because he had a very strange, like he made a whole series of movies about his experiences during the war, and as somebody who tried to be a pacifist objector throughout it. So he has a very like cynical like take on a lot of like the samurai film like structure and stuff. It's really great. It's a really amazing movie. The cinematography is also just really beautifully done. I really love that movie so much. Should rewatch it. And it's like the ending is amazing. Just the ending is like amazing and like beautiful and tragic in a way, you know. I do too. I like a lot of. I'm very fascinated by Japan. I think our generation of like lame white person is very into Japanese history. Oh. I do too. I like studying folklore. My favorite. Yeah. Do you ever study like? Emeka, do you know like where? Do you know where your family like originated from? I've recently like gotten into like studying, because my family is quite a bit is Czech. So I've recently been like into studying like Slavic folklore and stuff, and like it's been a weird, fascinating journey down that rabbit hole. Slavic folklore is interesting because it is very, it's all part of the Indo-European sort of like oeuvre. It's fascinating to like study all this stuff because it's like you get to see like the Philippines is, by the way, the Philippines is also a place that has a unique like the Philippines is also a place that kind of has a unique like superhero culture that is separate from American perception. The Philippines is unique. What their superhero culture is unique because it's like a lot of it's done in movies. Like there seemingly, I mean, there are Filipino comics, but seemingly it's not that interested in comics really. So like there's a lot more superhero movies than there are anything. Which is yeah. I don't know. I got recently very into like family history and stuff. Mostly because I'm weird. I'm obsessed with history, so it's kind of fun to place like your. It was kind of fun for me to place my like relatives like in the whole grand thing, and also because yeah, well that also is true. How many kings are you related to? How many kings are you related to? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That always sucks. That's always the joke when you look into like family history, is like everybody's related to like some royalty or something. I mean, the truth of the matter is you actually are probably related to some royalty somewhere down the line. You know, because if you think about it, like, you know, one thing, like, if you think about it, like, you know, like you have 4 grandparents. Oh, there we go. There we go. So was like your family a member of Pinkerton, or like? Like, I mean, the Pinkertons were a big like organization, so there's a good chance like one of your family members was a Pinkerton. Or are they saying like you're related directly to Alan Pinkerton? Because that's very different. You don't have to trudge any of this up. Sorry. So it's always a risk asking people about their family, because sometimes people have good relations and sometimes people don't have so great of a relationship.